ask that my words be understood by all here present, and that they speak of your love towards each and every one of them. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning.
Good morning.
I've had 2 practice rounds before today, so I think I'm ready to go. First off, I'd also like to say Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. How many fathers are out there today? I've got a bunch of them, right? Okay. It's a glorious day. The earlier service today, I got a great gift when my wife and my son and my granddaughter also came to the service today. So, you know what? You don't need to buy me anything. Just sometimes just be there. It's good enough for me. So, again, Happy Father's Day to all of you. I have to say that this week has been a trying week for me. It's been a trying week in many ways. But it's also been one that has helped me to really understand God's faithfulness, His faithfulness to me. And I'll explain a little bit later in my sermon what I mean here. Today is Trinity Sunday. And it's one of the hardest messages that anyone can preach on. And it's during this time that many seminarians and deacons get the job of preaching on Trinity Sunday.
Amen.
Father Mike is not punishing me. Okay? It just kind of seems the way it works out. But it seems one of the reasons that we do that is because we are relatively new as seminarians and as deacons. And there's a lot of older deacons, but I'm a relatively new deacon. So sometimes when we give messages about what God wants us to do, what God gives us. But today on Trinity Sunday, it's about the message of who is God. So sometimes we need to be reminded about that when we do give our messages, so that we give a full, rounded account of God Himself. The spiritual mystery of the Trinity is exactly that. Kind of like a dance, if you will. And we often try to make this triune God into whatever we perceive Him to be. Trying to fully understand Him using our own limited ability. And we don't even come close to trying to understand what that is. And I, for one, don't want to dwell on the mystery of the Trinity, and I don't want to make it what I want it to be. I want to strive every day to have the kind of faith that will allow me to be part of this special mystery. This never-ending love for us, without placing Him into a mold that I perceive Him to be. And the Trinity can only be comprehended by our faith. Our language simply fails to capture the wonderful majesty and mystery of the Trinity. But we always seem to have this desire to try to fully understand the Trinity. So let us stop. Let us stop that need to know and our desire to try to explain. Let us listen and believe in God's community of love. God is inviting us to be part of this great community, together with everyone around us. Everyone here today, I know, is seeking the light of God, to be a small light. But as each and every one of us, as we grow in community together, that light becomes larger, our community becomes larger, and our many lights will shine brighter and brighter and brighter. And I think it may be safe to say that everyone here has come seeking the light, seeking to make it shine continually in your hearts, being in community with each other. Father Mike talks about community, and he talks about our baptismal covenant all the time. And the reason he does that is because it's important. It's important to be a part of the community of God. Yesterday, Gene Beers and I went to visit Marjorie at Lansdale Hospital. And the 4 of us shared in communion. And we shared in fellowship together with God and with each other. Each of us there had our own little light. But together, we gave off this bright light. This light of hope for Marjorie. This light of community. That we were there because we cared. Same as God is there. Now, I said earlier that I had a trying week. And this afternoon I'll also have one more challenge. And the reason I say that is because this afternoon will be my last day at Reading Rehabilitation Hospital, where I've been a volunteer chaplain there for over 2 years now. So I'm going to be moving away from there to others. So it's a bittersweet kind of thing. You know, I've got to know all the people there, and so So it's going to be a little disheartening for me. But I'm glad because my new ministry is coming in. It's pretty exciting. So, this week, my light has also been tested. It's been dimmed at times this week. But ultimately, at the end, it's been bright. I started my first day at Bryn Mawr Hospital yesterday. But getting to that point, this last 2.5 months, has been very challenging, to say the least. And I went to a meeting on Thursday, and I had all the enthusiasm that I needed, and I was filled with the light of God. And I was walking around tall and proud, in fact, that I again would be bringing God's message to new people, to a new place. But then I was asked to do something that went completely against what I thought was right. It went against my belief in how we are to be seen. My wonderful experience suddenly turned into this huge test. The visual sign of my faith was being put on notice. So I suddenly no longer had this quiet confidence inside me, and my light began to dim, so to speak. And I left this meeting feeling very alone. I felt alone, I felt disheartened, but I was committed to stay the course that I was directed to go to. And I would not relent in my decision. I simply got stopped short. I've had other stumbling blocks in my journey towards giving pastoral care to people. You all know there's so many rules now in the hospitals and everywhere you go. So I've had stumbling blocks before, but not one like this. So I reached out. I reached out to my faith community. I reached out to Father Mike. And I reached out to other people in the community. Because I needed their love, and I needed their support, and I needed their guidance. And that's what I'm talking about, being reaffirmed by our community. You are my community. I was reaffirmed in my decision. And I prayed that the Holy Spirit was there with me and that the direction was correct. My light was brightened again. So I went out. It was brightened again by the community of faith that I have. And I felt the presence of the Holy Spirit. Now the very next day after that, I went to Phoenixville Hospital, where I'll also be starting. And my meeting there was 180 degrees. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. The people didn't ask for anything other than for me to be present and to help them establish some kind of program there. So it was a great thing. There was no requirements, and there was nothing I had to do that would be against what I felt was right. So yesterday I went to Bryn Mawr, and it was my first day there. I had the bright light of Christ again, because I had that confidence back again, thanks to Father Mike and other people in my community. And I went with additional brightness from all of you, believe it or not. And it was absolutely wonderful. It was a great day. From the receptionist to the guard, to the very first patient that I met, from the very last patient that I met. They all could feel, and I could feel the need of all of them to have community. To have this part of this community of faith that I was trying to bring to them. The patients needed to be heard. They needed to be reassured, needed to be comforted. Now, I went in that day, I think, feeling like a 100-watt light bulb, which is pretty bright, right? But I can tell you when I left there, I felt like this huge floodlight. I was shining everywhere, because it's just the way I felt. And I was getting all that from all these small lights. And I truly believe that behind me, what I left was these small lights. Of all the people that I met, was another light, and another light, and another light. And I'm sure some of the nurses and the staff and the patients that I met, I'm sure their lights were probably handed off to other people while I was there. So it was a great morning, and I really, really enjoyed it. I know these people didn't see God. They didn't try to analyze who God was. They didn't try to make him into their own image. They just simply felt that they were welcomed into a community who showed them the light and the love of God. I'm sure they felt part of God's community. And God is constantly inviting us, constantly reminding us to be part of his community. Now maybe we can't explain fully what the Trinity is. But all of you, I'm sure all of you have been witnesses to the great power of God's community. the great power of His love and His grace and His mercy. I'm sure all of you, at one time or another, have been witnesses to that. So let's delight in this great mystery. Let's delight in this great love and His compassion that God has. Not focusing on trying to analyze it and break it down. Simply being together and being the light out into the world. Let us pray. Most merciful Father, help us to be the light in this world. And help us to understand the importance of faith and being in community with you and those around us. Amen.
Amen.